With a lack of consensus at the national level and a feeling that Washington has not done enough to enforce federal laws already in force, many local communities have taken matters into their own hands. One such community is the city of Hazelton. Mayor of Hazelton. He was elected to Hazelton City Council in 1998 and became mayor in 2000. Mayor Barletta is an appointed member of the National Board of Advisors of the Federation for Immigration Reform, and in 2008 was named Mayor of the Year by the Pennsylvania State Mayors Association.
And on October Friday night, after a high school football game, which was a big event in Hazelton, after the game, the students would travel downtown and have pizza on the sidewalk, pizza and soda, and get together. This night was different. Hector Luna, an illegal alien, on a short field on badge, shot 2 people just 100 feet from where the high school students were standing. Hector Luna was in the country illegally. That crime, that murder, terrified our city. And that would not be the last. More and more crimes would be committed afterwards. The killer was arrested on playgrounds on crack cocaine while little children were playing on the playground. We arrested him. It took our detectives 5 hours to determine who he was. He had 5 social security cards. The problem became so bad where we started seeing gangs moving into the city that I actually went to Washington in December of 2005, had a meeting with the Department of Justice, talked to them about the problems, about the illegal immigration problem that we were seeing in our city. And at the end of the meeting, what I got out of it was a nice coffee mug, a lapel pin, and a pat on the back and good luck. And I realized the federal government was not going to do anything. They were not going to help. And just a few short months, May 10th, 2006, a day that I'll never forget, we arrested a 14-year-old for shooting a gun into a crowded playground. It was a playground filled with Hispanic children. It was a playground that I grew up on, as a matter of fact. The 14-year-old was in the country illegally. He had his lawyer on speed dial, which I thought was unusual for a 14-year-old. And I remember going home and telling my wife that I had lost control of our city, that we couldn't control what was happening. That same night, I would get a call from the chief of police. A 29-year-old city man was shot between the eyes by 2 individuals. We spent 1/3 of our entire budget and overtime in our police department on that one homicide, Derek Kishline. The shooters were in the country illegally. In fact, the shooter was arrested 8 times before he came to Hazelton and took the life of Derek Kishline.
I think we don't touch it at the point where we should, which is not what do we do with the people that come here, but rather, why do they come here? People, I think, would not want to leave their own home if they could find an alternative. If they could live in their own country, I think most people would rather live there. And the very few who are so adventurous that they would normally leave their country and go someplace else are the kind of people all countries want. So we would not have problems with those. So how could we change the economy of the globe?
Professor Ting?
Thank you. I've written some numbers on the whiteboard in the corner over there. It's a very fragile whiteboard, so don't try and turn it. I know most can't, so I'll describe it to you. The official U.S. estimate of population in 2005, in between the 2 decennial censuses, was 296 million. That's the official estimate of the U.S. population. Of that number, 36 million, about 13% were foreign born. And if we accept the official, the consensus estimate of illegal immigration in the U.S. is about 12 million. It's about 1/3 of the immigrants in the United States are in the country illegally. In 2008, the Pew Research Center made a projection of how the population is going to grow if we do nothing. And it's on the internet, so if you Google Pew Research Center U.S. population, it will pop up. And their determination was by the year 2050, the U.S. population would be 438 million if we do nothing, which is an increase of 142 million. So for those of you young people who are going to be running the country in the year 2050, you might think about what America's going to look like.
As easy. Many people wait years and years to come to this country legally. I spoke to a Romanian woman who told me it took 5 years for her family to be united, for her to get her entire family into the United States through the legal process from Romania.
Want to come here in search of a better life? Yes or no? That's the question. The alternative is a system of numerically limited immigration where we decide as a country how many we're willing to take and what kind of people we're willing to take, and then we have to enforce that standard. That's a tough choice, as I indicated earlier, and I think there are too many politicians that want to evade that choice. Oh, don't make us choose. You know, we want to show how tough we are by spending a lot of money on enforcement. You know, we'll build a virtual fence, not a real fence, but a virtual fence at the border, full of technology. We'll hire a lot of people, put them on the payroll, immigration. It's good for a big business, certainly business. We don't really want them to. So there's a big constituency out there for open borders and unlimited immigration. Wall Street Journal editorial board has famously said there should be a constitutional amendment that says there shall be open borders. But it's also unquestioned that there are segments of the American workforce that suffer from unlimited immigration and illegal immigration. Most obviously, the less skilled, less educated portion of the American workforce, many of whom are recent immigrants themselves. Legal immigrants suffer most from the competition of illegal immigrants and many minority populations, because they're less skilled and have less education, suffer adversely.
Plaintiffs, pro bono, although they want $2 million from the city of Hazelton if they're successful. The plaintiffs had asked Judge Conley if they could have their identities kept confidential from the public, which he granted. They asked the judge if they could have their identities kept confidential from the city of Hazelton, who they were suing, which he granted. They were not allowed to ask their names. They then asked the judge if they could be excused from showing up at the trial, because they were in the country illegally, and they did not want to go to a federal courthouse, which the judge granted. I believe that the illegal aliens were granted more rights than you as a United States citizen would be granted. You cannot sue your city and remain anonymous. We never saw our accusers and had the opportunity to defend.
My question to you, Mayor Barletta and Professor Zetts, is what exactly is it that you would like to see the students gain from this class? What is it that you'd like to see them take from this experience and really learn from the class in general?
Aren't sure what to do about it, and I think they have to think about it. You're gonna be the young people who are gonna take over this country, and you're going to have to solve it because we haven't. So I hope I can help on that.
What I'm fighting against. This is not an anti-immigrant ordinance. That's sending the wrong message. It's sending the wrong message to all those who took this course. This is a city that is standing up because our federal government has failed. For other colleges around the country, students are presented one side. And if that side is from the instructor's point of view, I believe we're doing a disservice to our young people, because it may be you who will be asked to tackle this problem. And you may be the ones who are making the decisions in your communities or in a political life or in a place of employment. To characterize my city, yes, it was personal for me because I thought it was an injustice to the people of Hazelton. There's no war in Hazelton, and it is a city divided. And to allow the students, and thankfully there were some students from Hazelton here who knew better, but to portray a city like that at a great college like this, I think is unfair.
I think the Hazelton ordinances were crafted, if you will, to fit within the parameters of both the Supreme Court opinion and the statutory exception that Congress provided.
Now, I think, what would you say to those people that live in Hazelton? What would you say to people that live in these parts of Pennsylvania where they've experienced laws like this and also hate crimes, for example, that have happened in Shenandoah?
I'm a lawyer, and I've been an activist on the issue of illegal immigration, representing a large group, a large national group of Americans. My question to you, Mayor Barletta and to Dr. Ting, would you support Congressman Luis Gutierrez's ideas of the last 2 years, and that have failed in the past to be supported regarding immigration reform?
On the PBS NewsHour last Monday, and I said, it's not going to pass this year, it's not going to pass next year, it's not going to pass the year after that. Beyond that, my crystal ball grows foggy.